Hi everyone, it is day 19 of the 26 Days to Greatness Challenge. Today with us we have Anthony Kirby, he goes by Kirby. So Kirby is the founder and the author of the Expert Blueprint, and he helps coaches, consultants, and service-based business owners on how to fill their calendars with amazing clients that they love working with. So today, today's topic, we're going to be talking about secrets to amazing marketing and sales, which is super powerful if you guys are business owners or anyone just wanting to make a difference out there. Like, you need to have this skill set under your belt. So with that being said, Kirby, thank you for being on here.
It's awesome to be here. And I just want to say as well, for anyone who is on day 19, that puts you in like the top 1% of people in the world who want to learn new things. So congratulations on being on day 19, first of all.
Yay, awesome. And I totally forgot to share with the audience, Kirby, that you are tuning all the way from Australia, which is super cool. And I'm sure we have audience all across the globe too. So I just wanted to share that. So with that being said, would you love to tell us a little bit more about who you are, your background, your story?
Yeah, sure. And thanks for having me. So my story, essentially, the short version of my story is that I was probably like most people, stuck in a corporate job. I was really well paid. I enjoyed the work, but what happened was I had my first son, Charlie. And when he was a few months old, I went to a Tony Robbins event. I knew I kind of wanted to do something more with my life. And I saw him on stage, and the guy in front of me, who I'm still good friends with, said to me, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm about to do that." And I pointed at Tony Robbins on stage. Mm-hmm. So my original intention was to, become the next Tony Robbins, as I'm sure many people want to do. But what I realized was I didn't want to be the next Tony Robbins. I wanted to be the first Anthony Kirby. And I think that's a good lesson straight away for everybody before we get into sales and marketing, is be who you are and allow that to come through, because that's going to allow you to go forward in your business faster than anything else. So, fast forward a little while, I'd left my corporate job. I'd remortgaged my family home to pull some savings out so I could sustain the business for the first few months. And I was on struggle street. I was really not doing very well at all, which was kind of surprising because I did really well in my career and I was really good at sales. But what I realized was it wasn't just about being able to convert someone. You had to be able to attract someone first. And being outside of an organization where you have to be your own brand and you're suddenly the face of the company and you're the HR department, the marketing department, the sales department, the finance department, you're wearing all of the hats. And it was really quite a struggle to kind of get people on board. And so I suppose the turning point for me was when my wife came in and she said to me, "Hey, honey, I know you're working really hard, but we're not going to be able to buy nappies for Charlie next week." And I was like, wow, that's it's a real kick in the teeth, when your family come to you and tell you that in the nicest possible way. She was telling me that I was failing in my business. And it was a real big wake up call for me. And so I did what everyone else does. I read all the books, but what it really came down to is this: I simplified everything. And the big lesson that I want to teach people is that less is more when it comes to sales and marketing. It's very easy, especially now, you go through your news feed and there's like hundreds of gurus who'll tell you how to grow your social media, how to get more followers, how to convert more sales, and how to do it all really easily. And it's very easy to overcomplicate your business when you do this. Okay. So what I did, I simplified everything. I came up with one great offer that converted, and I focused on producing content around that great offer. And then I focused on calling the people who had seen that content and getting them engaged, and then selling them a ticket to my first ever event. And so we did that. We sold the tickets for $297. I made 300 phone calls. I sold 43 tickets. And that was like the start of, the real business turning over good money. From there, I went on to do well over 7 figures in sales for my coaching business, or my training business as it was. And that kind of led me to where I am now, which is teaching that system to other coaches and consultants and people who sell their services, what I refer to as difference makers. So people are out there who want to make a difference to someone else's life or their business or their relationships or their health in some way. They can do that. And generally speaking, 90% of the people that I speak to have great intention and they've got great skills. What they struggle with is converting those skills to sales, because they're good at what they do. They don't know how to get the awareness. They feel like the best kept secret. And so that's essentially what I do. And that's what I wrote in the book, The Expert Blueprint. That's what I've got in the Expert Blueprint course, which everyone who's watching this gets a copy of for free. It's a complete online course you get for $0. And yeah, that's what I'm here to talk about today, is how you can use that simple system and increase your brand presence, increase your awareness, and increase your authority and make some money.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Kirby, we are like only a couple minutes into this interview and we're already learning a ton from you. And it's so funny because right before I got on this interview with you, I was doing some research, just looking up at your website again. And the first thought that came into my mind was like, oh my gosh, Kirby really makes everything super uber simple, like
Yeah.
with your bio, with your about me page, like it was so simple. Unlike all of the other speakers, I'm not like saying it's good or wrong, but like it really stood out to me when I saw that on your website. And that makes total sense, because sometimes, especially like the attention span now with most people, they don't have that time to look through like paragraphs and paragraphs of what you have to offer. So that's super powerful. Okay, so Kirby, let's talk about, I wasn't able to catch quick enough what you shared. So you said you had one offer that converted, and then you focus on that. You created content around that offer. And then what was the next piece that you did?
For me, I sold tickets to an event. So I was selling essentially my core business when I started my business, training sales teams. So I would go into companies and I would train their sales consultants. So I'd go into brands like Microsoft here in Australia, and I would train their IT departments on how to sell their product. And so that was my job, right? That was my business when I started out, before I started to coach coaches. And so I was selling tickets to this event, this one-day workshop. And then from the back of that workshop, I sold my coaching packages and further workshops, within the unique organizations themselves. And hence I was able to take my business to over 7 figures from that.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's more like getting people into the door one step at a time, just kind of moving them forward. Okay, cool. So, Kirby, that was already a ton of good nuggets. I cannot wait to see what's next. I know you have like a whole workshop really prepared for our audience today. So let's dive into that.
All right. So the first thing I want to start with is 2 points, and I want you to write these down, which is everything is a test. And that's really important to remember, because there's going to be, 8 of the 10 things that you try won't work, or they won't work on surface level. You won't think they're giving you much, but what they're doing is they're giving you feedback on what's not working in your offer. And I'm going to tell you how to write a great offer as well. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you shouldn't be making offers to people who don't know you. And this is a big thing. So this is where I'm really different to all of the gurus out there right now. And the gurus are very well-meaning. They want to teach you the right things, but what they're teaching you is stuff that worked 10 years ago. And it doesn't work now because everything's changed. So if you go out there, think about it like this. If you go out to a nightclub and you want to meet someone, you want to meet your soulmate. You walk into the nightclub, you spot someone who looks nice. You walk up and you say, hey, you look perfect, let's get married. Chances are they're going to put a drink over your head, or they're going to slap you in the face. Now, contrast that to marketing on social media right now. How are we going about our marketing is we're going out there and we're saying, hey, who wants to buy my product? Who wants to get on a call with me? Who wants to have a free strategy session? What you're essentially doing is going to the nightclub and asking people to get engaged or get married. And they're not ready yet. You need to build some rapport. They don't even know you. They don't even know your first name. So the golden rule for me and all of the marketing that I teach is only make offers to people who know you. So people who've engaged with you in some way, people who might know your name, people who would recognize your brand. Because if you're making offers to a cold audience, chances are you're going to be burning a lot more money than you need to. It's going to be frustrating you because you're not going to be seeing the results, and you're going to feel like you're failing. You're going to feel like you're not good enough, and you're going to start comparing yourself to everyone else that you're seeing on social media who is quote unquote successful. And really what you're doing is you're creating a false ecosystem for yourself in your business. And it's creating a belief system that you're not good enough, and a belief system that your offers are wrong. And what usually happens is people start to discount their price. They start to say, well, if no one's taken my offer, if no one's booking in for my strategy call, it must be because I'm too expensive. Or if you do get people on a strategy call, but they're not converting, and you think, wow, what's wrong with me? Why can't I sell anything? Why aren't they buying from me? Why do people just want to take all my free stuff? It's not that you are doing it wrong. It's that you're speaking to the wrong people because they're not yet engaged with you. So you're attracting the wrong audience. So when we switch up those two things, we understand that number one, everything's a test. And number two, that we should only make offers to people who know us already or who've engaged with us previously. That's going to make a big difference straight away to how your business is seen and how your results happen. Okay. So that being the case, here, I'm literally going to spell out the whole blueprint. So this is exactly how, if you want to grow your business in the next like 30 days, you want to get 2 or 5 new clients, this is how to do it. So first of all, pick one client that you want to work with. So that might be, if you're a health coach or a life coach, you might say, I want to work with a mum, or I want to work with teenagers, or whatever it might be. Then you got to ask yourself a couple of really simple questions. The first one is, what have they already seen, heard, or tried? Because that's really important. If we know that they've already worked with a guru, if we know that they've already spent $10,000 on a certification, or if we know that they've already tried diets or they've tried life coaching before, well, we know that when we go out to the market, we can't just say, hi, I'm a life coach and you should book in a strategy session, because that's not going to work. They're going to say, I've been there and I've tried that and it doesn't work for me. And they're going to just skip straight past your offer. If you know that they've done that and you change your language and you say, hey, I know that you've tried life coaching before, but this is why this is different. Instantly, you're going to get the attention of the market. And that's really important. So that's the first question I wanted to ask. What have they seen, heard, or tried? The second part of that question is, what has happened based on what they've seen, heard, or tried? So did they get a result? Did they fall in love with the guru? Did they absolutely hate the experience? Did they buy the course but never watch it? Did they start the diet but not commit to it? Did they start the exercise routine but not get past day 3? Whatever it is, you need to get an idea of what that might be, because that's going to help you in formulating your copywriting, formulating your offer, formulating how you're turning up on video and how you're speaking to the market. And then the final part of that is, how do they feel about the result they got? So if they worked with, for example, if someone goes out there and they work with the big brand guru who's been out for 10 years, he's got millions of followers, and they say, wow, this guy's amazing, I'm going to go and buy his course and do his things. And they've got great results from that, or they're just absolutely in love with that person. It's going to be no good for you to go out there and say, hey, I'm better than everybody else. What you want to say is, hey, that person's really good, but here's why I think they're teaching you something that's not right. Or if they've had a really bad experience with someone, you want to say, look, I know you've probably had a bad experience with these people who've taken all of your money and haven't given you any results, but here's what I want to do. And here's my promise and here's my guarantee. So it really helps you to understand where you need to stack your offer and how you need to turn up and talk to your people. That's straight away, that's going to position you above the noise of the marketplace. Now, once you got that, there are obvious questions that your market have all the time, and you've probably heard them already. Maybe you've already answered some of them. What I want you to do is think about the 5 or 10 questions that are really common in your audience, and I want you to go and record a video for each of those questions. So for example, one of the questions I get a lot is, hey Kirby, how do I know if my Facebook ads are working or not? And another question I get is, hey Kirby, why does my offer not work? Why is my offer not converting? So I could make videos on those 2 pieces of content, and I could then go and promote that to a cold audience. And this is where I differ a lot. So most people will say, make a lead magnet, promote your lead magnet, put your lead magnet on a landing page, build a funnel, hack someone else's funnel. What I'm going to say is, don't do any of that yet. Produce content that people want the answer to, where you know there's a pent-up demand and a pent-up desire to solve the problem. When you go and put those videos out there, you can put them out organically on social media, email list, YouTube, all of those sorts of things. But then you can start to go and spend $10, $20 a day, and you can promote these videos to a cold audience based on their interests or based on their demographics. So if you want to speak to parents who live in Australia, you can go to Facebook and you can target parents who live in Australia, and you can show them videos about how to handle their teenagers. And they're going to be looking for this content, and they're going to say, wow, that's really helpful. And the key rule is, it has to leave them better than they find them. If they watch that video, they have to say, I feel really good that I just watched that video. If you don't believe it's going to be different to anything else they've seen, or if you don't believe it's going to leave them better than you found them, don't release the video. It's not good enough. The second part of it is that it has to be such good value that it's the kind of stuff other people are charging them for. So the video has to be so powerful with such a great insight or such a great takeaway that they'd be like, you know what, I would have paid $10 to get that. That's the kind of content we're talking about here. Not just the wishy-washy kind of social media content for the sake of it, like hard-hitting, results-based, outcome-focused content with zero pitch. This is not about selling anything. This is about building engagement and building awareness of who you are and that you are the person that is credible to solve their problem. Now, once you've done that, you're going to have some engagement. You're going to have some people commenting. The reason I say make 5 to 10 pieces of content is because you want to have all of that content on your social media feed. And here's why. What will happen is, and you'll probably laugh when I say this because I know you've probably done it as well. When you find someone who seems to be good at answering your question and solving your problem, your natural tendency is to dig deeper. Your natural tendency is to go, I'm going to go and see what this person's all about. Are they legit? So what you do is you click on their social media profile. And then you start to scroll through their social media profile looking for the legitimacy factor. Now, what you want is you want people to scroll through your social feed and see all of the other content that you've produced that is all relevant to them. And you want them to go, wow, where has this person been hiding all my life? Like these guys have come out of nowhere. I didn't know them 10 minutes ago, but now I just can't get enough of them. And then they start clicking through to your website and they start clicking through your social media profile and they start to want to learn more about you. This is what I call attraction marketing. We're not out there saying, hey, take my call, hey, get my lead magnet. We're not being glitzy and flashy and salesy. We're being the complete opposite. We're coming from a massive place of value. What we're doing more importantly is we're saying, hey, come have a look at all the other stuff I've got for free. When they do that, guess what's going to happen? They're going to start to find your URLs for your landing page. They're going to start to find the URL for your lead magnets. They're going to start to find your podcasts, find your blogs, find your website. And every time they go deeper into this process, there's more likelihood that they are going to choose to opt in rather than being asked to opt in. That's a massive difference in the quality of the lead that you're going to get.
Okay, Kirby, I just want to stop you right there because that was a huge aha moment for me because like for the way that I've been growing my leads and like building the audience, it's kind of like the backward way of how you just taught us, which makes total sense. And it all comes down to like the quality of the leads. Yeah, maybe we can get like a ton of opt-ins for like a lead magnet, but then the quality of the leads aren't really there. Sometimes they don't really know you. They just wanted the free information. So what you just mentioned, it's about really getting to know our audience first. Like obviously we need to know who we are serving and then creating content that would directly address what they are looking for. So I'm asking a question like personally for me, right? So I feel like for me and this might be relevant to lots of people out there too, when they're really getting started with building a business, we don't really have so much clarity around our audience. So like how do you have like a process when it comes to identifying like the niche audience that we serve? Yeah.
My process is twofold. Number one, choose someone, anyone. Start somewhere. You have to put a flag in the ground and stand for something, or you won't speak to anyone.
Okay.
The second part is, and I get this question a lot, so it's a great question, Miko. So thanks for asking it. I get this question a lot about, hey Kirby, my service is suitable to X amount of people. It's suitable to mums and dads. Well, that's great. So all you do is when you start the content, when you start the video, you say, hey, I would say, hey, it's Kirby. I know you normally hear me talking to coaches, but today I've got a message for you if you're an accountant. That's it.
Okay.
So it's that simple. Like it doesn't have to be complex. We expect that we need to be able to change our message so it appeals to everyone. But instead, remember that if you're going to go and push this out to a cold audience, you can target the people you want. So you can target accountants, you can target mums, you can target people who like yoga, you can target people who like Lululemon clothing. You can target people who like BMW cars. So regardless of what your audience is, don't get too caught up in trying to speak to everyone with one message. Like, how many things do we see on social media? Can you remember what the news headlines were yesterday?
No, I don't watch news.
So, like if you if I said, remember 5 adverts that you saw on social media yesterday, or 5 videos that you watched, you'd probably struggle. And that was yesterday. So people aren't sitting there going, you know what, Kirby was talking to coaches yesterday and now he's talking to accountants. He mustn't be legitimate. All they'll say is they'll just, in your copy, if you write, this is for you if you're an accountant who needs more clients. If someone's not an accountant, they're going to say, that's not for me. And they're going to scroll straight past. And it's not a problem. So same with your videos. You know, if you've got multiple audiences that you serve, if one audience is female and another one's male, and you want to speak to the females, put it in your copy. When I'm talking about copy here, I'm talking about the words in your posts. Put it in the words and say, you know, this is for the female entrepreneur who wants more Instagram followers.
Okay.
And then if you've got a video for males about, you know, a diet that improves testosterone, you would say, if you're a male who wants more testosterone production, eat these 3 foods. You know, like just call it out so that the people, when they're scrolling, they won't even bother stopping if it's not for them. And that's how you can really serve multiple niches with your message without getting too concerned about speaking to all of them at once.
Okay, so but does it matter when it comes to consistency, like on your news feed, like on your social media platforms? And I know at the beginning you mentioned like having one focus on your offer. Like, how do you tie all of that in together?
So think about this like a funnel, right? Your offer, your core service is probably exactly the same.
Yes.
So if you're going to coach somebody, if you're a life coach and you're going to help someone get purpose in their life and you're going to help them with clarity, you're going to help them with direction, setting their goals, you know, overcoming their limiting beliefs, that is applicable whether you're young, old, male, female, you know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The difference is at the top when we get their attention, because remember, these are 2 different things. There's 2 different conversations we're having here. One's a conversion conversation, which is how do we get them to buy the service? What we're talking about right now is attention. This is the problem people have. They're trying too hard to get the conversion. They're not worrying enough about getting the right attention. So if you get the right attention and you move them through to a relevant lead magnet or a relevant piece of content, when they fall out of the bottom and they have a call with you, the call is exactly the same regardless of the individual. The product doesn't change. The offer doesn't change. The way that you get them to the offer changes so that it's relevant to them.
Okay, that makes total sense. So it's like you said, the funnel, and then when the moment, by the time they get on a call with you, it's like it makes sense to them what you're offering, because it got them to that point in the process. Okay, cool. Okay, and I love that. Thank you for clarifying that this is like getting attention is different from conversion, because obviously we need to get the attention first. Okay, so I want to let you keep going back to the teaching piece. So we stopped off at after you mentioned the social media page, the legitimacy factor.
Yeah. So we're talking about, you know, someone's seen you now, they've kind of watched a bit of your content and they're going to be like, this is good. What's next?
Yeah.
Now the what's next is the part where most people create something that's not really congruent with what they've been saying. So they'll put out a lead magnet that's really weak. You know, so a lot of people will say, you know, create a PDF, make it a 1-pager. But how many times, and I'll ask you this, Miko, but I'm referring this to everyone who's watching this or listening to this. How many times have you downloaded a lead magnet where you think this is exactly what I'm looking for? You give them your email address and you get it and you open it and you go, what is this? It's rubbish.
Yeah, I could definitely think of it a few times.
Yeah. Same, right? And then what happens is, what do they usually do? They usually just bombard you with emails. Just, hey, come and take my next step. Come and watch my webinar. Come and get on a call with me. Buy my cheap thing. And you're just like, yeah, it just feels horrible because it's not congruent. So here's the easiest way to make sure your lead magnet is amazing and it converts really highly. Think about and ask yourself this question. It's what I call the logical right next step, right? So the question is, if I had a magic pill and I gave it to my client or my ideal prospect, what would they want the magic pill to do for them? Like, would they want the magic pill to get them more clients? Would they want the magic pill to help them lose weight? Would they want the magic pill to help them improve their communication with their spouse? Would they want the magic pill to help them sleep better? Whatever it is, that's what your lead magnet needs to be built around. And remembering here, you want the lead magnet to be so compelling that it draws them to the next step without you asking. You want it to be so good that other people are charging $29 for it. So my lead magnet is my online course. That is like my lead magnet. It's a complete online course, which I used to sell for $2,000.
Wow.
Like a few years ago, I had a different version of the course. I sold it for $2,000 and it's sold every day. And the reason that I'm giving it away for free is because information is not what people are paying for anymore. Implementation is. And that's a really key point when you're looking at your lead magnets, your offers, what you're giving to the market. Don't worry about giving them the information that you would feel like, wow, what am I going to talk to them about if I coach these people? What am I going to talk to them about if I give them all this information? The reality is they're not paying you for the information. They're paying you for accountability. They're paying for implementation. They're paying for you to hold their hand and say, hey, you're doing a great job. That's what they're paying you for. They're not paying you for the video about, hey, here's how to set your goals. They can go to YouTube and type in how to set goals and they'll get 1 million videos with that result.
Wow.
So,
Good point, Kirby. Wow. Information is so available to us everywhere. And like the reason why we still pay is like exactly what you just mentioned. It's the accountability, that human factor beyond just like watching a webinar or reading a book, but having that human touch is so important. Wow. Okay. Good point.
So it has to, so in essence, for your lead magnet, it has to serve the logical next step. It has to be where someone would say, you know what, that's what I'm looking for right now. So for me, if I was going to create a lead magnet as a life coach, I would say, right, here is an assessment that you can take that is 8 questions that is going to ask you to mark where you're at in your life so you know where you should be putting your focus next. Because if health is the lowest thing in your score of 1 to 10, if health is at like 2 and everything else is at 5, well, guess what? You need to focus on your health because that's going to affect everything else. So now you're giving someone clarity and they're like, wow, that makes so much sense. And you want that to be the thing. You always want them to be saying, wow, this is really good. Wow, this is really obvious. I can't believe I didn't think of this already. You know, it's like, I call it slap your head simple. Like you want it to be so simple that they go like, how did I not know that already? But the thing is, most of your prospects will already know what you teach. They've just forgotten. And it's our job. It's our job to do 2 things. It's our job to help people remember, and it's our job to give them the confidence to have another go. I think that's really important, that we remember that we're here to make a difference, and it's about them and not about us. Yeah. We have the product, we have the service, we have the vehicle to move them to where they want to be. And the reason that we're not getting results is because we're not showing them the vehicle. We're kind of holding it back saying, I can't give them my vehicle because that's how I make my money. What I'm saying is show them the vehicle. Like take them for a test drive and say, hey, here's how it all works. Show them the path. Yeah. And when they see the path, they're going to say, that's great. And I trust that you are the person to take me on the path. People aren't going to buy a secret. They're going to buy clarity. They're going to buy certainty. So you have to show them where they're going to go next. And you have to give them that step.
And Kirby, I want to testify to that because like before we had this interview, we got connected a couple weeks ago and you were so generous just offering me a 30 minutes like one-on-one session and just completely walk me through like everything that I need to do. And guess what? Exactly like what you said, information doesn't equal implementation. I didn't implement yet because like, I mean, I have the information, but I don't have someone like you, like a coach to guide me, keep me accountable and like, and it's kind of just left on the back burner. Like that happens to so many of us, like to be completely honest. Yeah.
And that's where it comes down to like, if you've got someone in your world, you know, I heard a great quote once. I don't remember who said this, but it's so true. Might have been Amy Porterfield. It was, if you've got a guest in your house, be a good host. So if you've got people on your email list, keep looking after them. You know, just because they're not buying doesn't mean they should be ignored. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be adding more value. It just means they're not ready yet. And it might be for a number of reasons. They might just not quite have enough trust in you. They might have already invested in someone else and be kind of struggling to get the next purchase decision past their spouse because they've already spent money. You know, like all of these things are very, very normal things that happen out there for our market. So we just got to be mindful of that and just keep leading with that value and keep offering people the opportunity to implement. That doesn't mean selling them all the time. You know, that could just be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do a Zoom call. If you want to jump on and ask me some questions, jump on and ask me some questions. Like, why more people aren't doing that now is beyond me. Like, everyone knows what Zoom is because of COVID. You know, like before, 1 in 10 people would be like, wow, yeah, I know what Zoom is. And the other 9 would be like, what's Zoom? How do I get onto Zoom? That seems so complex. You know, so the market has changed. I mean, COVID has actually done us a favor because it's reminded the world of what's really important. And there's a lot of people looking for answers right now. And if you're out there giving good content, you'll be the person that's standing out head and shoulders above everybody else. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kirby, what's that whole piece? It sounds like it was about like the marketing piece, right? Getting people's attention, having them get on a phone call with us. So how do we convert?
That's a good question. Great segue. Good interview. You've done this before. So, right now, let's say you've got their attention and they've booked in a call or they've been through your funnel and, you know, into your email sequence and suddenly they've ended up on a phone call with you. Now, this is where most people freak out because they're like, what if I get it wrong? What if it's too expensive? So this is literally how to do your sales call. Get on a sales call and first of all, we stop calling it a sales call. We think about it like a discovery session or a journey with the client. And we detach from that outcome of making a sale. So if you get on a call with someone and I say to somebody, hey, we're going to spend the next like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes together talking about your X, whatever the X is that you teach or the X that you service people with. So for me, it's business. So if I say, hey, I'm going to speak to you about your business for the next 60 minutes, but what do you want to achieve in the next 60 minutes? Let's start there. Because how good is it when someone says, well, actually, you know, I booked in the call because I'd love to get clarity on A, B, and C. Now you know exactly what you need to focus on. So there's no guesswork involved anymore. And you're moving away from being scripted and like inhuman to more like, yeah, that's great. Well, I can help you with all 3 of those things. So, and that leads to the next part. And the next part is, so tell me what you've tried already. Tell me what you've done already. Like you want to learn about A, B, and C. Tell me what you've done already. And then they might tell you, well, you know, I've done a course with expert A and expert B, and I've spent $6,000 on that and I'm still stuck. I'm still exactly where I was 9 months ago. I'm just got a bigger credit card bill. Yeah. Like, great, no worries. Well, now you're aware of where they're at and how they might be thinking about your product or service. Now we got to start to think about how we can position ourselves. So the question I always like to ask is, and you can choose the time frame for this, but for me, I always choose 90 days because that's my program length. So I'd say, hey, and I'll just use the example of you, Miko. I'd say, hey, Miko, 90 days from now, for you to be super happy with your business, what would need to happen? And they'll tell you what they want. They will say things like, well, I want to create, you know, I want to make a difference to 25 clients in the next 90 days or 1,000. Or if it's a health related thing, they might say, you know what, I'd really like to lose 5 kilos or 20 pounds. Or if it's a life related thing, they might say, I just want to feel like I've got some purpose again. I feel like I'm struggling to get out of bed right now. 90 days from now, I'd like to be in the best shape of my life and bouncing out of bed in the morning. Now, you know exactly what's important to them when you ask that question. So then you could say, well, all right, again, let's review what you've tried already. What happened? Why didn't it work? You know, what do you think's holding you back? And you can become the coach. You can coach them through that situation, ask them powerful questions, give them awareness and clarity. And then this is where it's really different to what most people would do. Most people at that stage would say, well, I can help you with all of that. So do you want to know about my program?
Yes, Kirby. So I want to chime in on that. So a lot of coaches, like business coaches, teach us to never offer coaching on those calls. So this is like totally different. So can you kind of shed some clarity on like why?
Yeah, for sure. Because I learned this from Frank Kern. Frank Kern, he said to me, you can tell people how good you are. You can have people tell people how good you are, being former clients and results, or you can show them how good you are. So for me, if they're going to work with you, give them a test drive. Like actually take them through a process and say, right, tell me more, ask good questions and give, right? And then when you give, remember that people are never going to pay for information. They're always going to pay for implementation. They're going to pay for results.
Yeah.
So you could literally, I could find out from anyone, you know, what are the 3 things in their business that they want to achieve in the next 90 days. I could reverse engineer what is needed to make that happen based on the steps that they might be missing in their offers or their marketing or their content or their sales technique.
Yeah.
And then I could say, hey, try these things. Go away and do this. Go away and do this. And I could give them a roadmap and say, well, you know, over the next 90 days, in month number 1, in the first 30 days, you want to get this right. You want to get your content right. You want to start to build some brand awareness. In the second month, you want to start getting some opt-ins. In the third month, you want to start having some sales conversations. And they're like, yeah, that makes sense. And that gives them a roadmap.
Yeah.
Now, here's the really, really difficult closing question at the end. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
So you get to the end of that and you say, does that all make sense? And what are they going to say? They're going to say, yes, it does. I always ask, is there any part of that you feel like you couldn't achieve? And they'll always say, no, I'm pretty comfortable with all of that stuff. Then I ask the really hard closing question, which is, hey, would you like me to help you with that?
So what was the second one? Is there any part of it that you need me to clarify?
Is there any part of it that you feel you would struggle with?
Okay, is there any part?
And
most you say they most people say that they're fine with it.
Yeah.
Usually.
And I mean, some people might say, you know what, I'm really not sure about how to do Facebook ads, or I'm really not sure how to, you know, I really struggle when it comes to going to the gym, or I really struggle when it comes to having hard conversations with my spouse. And in which case you follow up with the exact same closing question. Okay, well, if you're going to struggle with that, would you like my help? Now they're always going to say, sure, because you've been so helpful up to this point.
Yeah.
They'll say, yeah, I would love your help. What does that look like? And they always ask, how much does it cost? And this is where people like jam up and they're like, oof. And you say, well, this is what it costs. And you just tell them. And if they say, well, I can't afford that, then you say, well, what could you afford? Like, it's not rocket science.
So here's a question. Do you ever work with people in terms of the budget? Is that like a big no-no, like you stick with your price, or what is your opinion on
So
that?
a couple of things here. If this is new for you, like if this is your first kind of foray into the coaching industry or the service-based industry and you just want to get some runs on the board, take the business. Like, let's not get precious about it. If the market's telling you that you're worth, or that your service is worth $500 and you think it's worth 1,000, well, guess what? It's worth 500 because that's what they're telling you it's worth. You can think whatever you like, but you go broke thinking, you know, you'll get rich getting the results. So you can always increase your prices later. So, you know, if you're in the early days. Now, what my better recommendation would be though, rather than getting used to discounting your products or services, is to have a really simple product suite. So the way that I do it is I always offer one-on-one first. The one-on-one's always going to be your highest ticket offer. So I would always go and say, right, it's one-on-one, this is how much it costs. If they say that's too expensive, then I say, great, would you be interested in going into a group with a number of other people?
Okay.
Now they normally say, sure. And you go, great, well that costs X, and that's the next level down. And if they still say, wow, that's still too expensive, you say, okay, would you be interested in once per month jumping on a live training, like a webinar, where I teach you some stuff and I'll do a short Q&A at the end. And that becomes your low barrier. So for example, you might say that, you know, your one-on-one might be priced at $1,500 per month or more. If they can't afford that, or they're not ready to purchase that, then you might say, all right, well, a group program is between, you know, $197 and $500 a month. That's much more affordable straight away. If they still can't afford that, or they still can't stomach the budget for that, more importantly, or they don't see the value in it, then offer them a monthly program. And you might say, look, monthly, it's like somewhere between $49 or $29 and $97 per month. And all that is once a month, you jump on and you do like a 90-minute live presentation where you teach for half of it and you answer questions for the second half.
Got
and that's it.
So, like kind of give people that options, and like when you kind of keep cutting it down, it kind of feels like it's more doable and they do want to work with you. So Oh, that's so genius. Wow. Okay.
Here's why it works really well. So imagine that you have someone, and right now today, let's say you
Mhm.
teach people business, and right now they've got no money because they've just started their business. And you
Mhm.
say to them, "Hey, join my, one-on-ones too much, groups too much. Join the monthly program, and it's $97." They'll find $97,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
then they're in that program, and they start to listen to what you're teaching, and they start to implement it, and they get results. What's going to happen? They're going to say, "I'm getting results. Now I can afford to do the group coaching." And then you get them in the group program, and they start to get results, and they say, "Hey, I'd really like to dig deep on this thing. Can I work one-on-one with you on it?"
Mhm.
Or on the reverse of that, let's say you've got a client who today is a one-on-one client, and they've got the money, and they pay you the money, and they're absolutely blown away with the results they get. But they say, "You know what? I don't feel like I need one-on-one anymore." All right, well, I still want to make sure you're good. So let's drop you down to the group. And then you're with a community of other people like you. And then people in the group who are like, "You know what? I can't make the calls. I'm really struggling to get to the group calls." Okay, well, drop down to the monthly program. It's still a touch point. The important thing here is what we don't want to have happen is that we let someone go out into the world again, and we let them go and buy off someone else who doesn't have the same care or support that you have. We want to offer them something rather than nothing.
Yeah, and that really requires like a mindset shift too, because a lot of like my friends, like people who do also have businesses, like they always feel like sales is something terrible, but that's actually us taking a stand for the people that are coming to us. And there's a saying that there's always a reason why they came to us in the first place. Like that means you can help them in one way or the other. So it's always up to us to take that firm stand for the people that show up. So
Like,
wow.
like let's reframe sales already. Like, let's just do it in one sentence. So right now, if I said, "All right, I'm going to give you the cure for cancer," would you want the world to have the cure for cancer?
Of course.
Of course,
Yes.
right? Everyone that we know has been affected in some way by that. Or right now, very topical, COVID-19. Hey, I've got the vaccine for COVID-19. Who wants the world to get back to normal? Everyone, right?
Everybody.
So then people would want what you offer. Now let's just shift the focus. And I don't wish to take away, I lost my father to cancer, so I'm not in any way like disparaging anyone who's gone through this, but let's change the word cancer to like problem, right? So we say, "Hey, I've got the cure to your problem. Would you like the solution?" What's the buyer going to say? Of course they do. That's why they're on a phone call with you, or that's why they're looking at your content. People don't look at content if it's not relevant. They just scroll straight past it. So if someone is engaged, if they're taking the time to watch your videos, and by the way, just another note on that, do not get caught up in the vanity metrics of likes, comments, shares. It's completely irrelevant. If you are dealing with people's personal life, especially if you're like in the areas of life or health or relationships, people are not going to say, "Hey, this is a great video. Thanks for solving my sex crisis in my marriage," because it's embarrassing for them. Right? So they're going to watch the video and engage, but they're going to do so silently. Don't take that as a bad thing. Don't think that your content sucks because no one engages. It doesn't suck. It just means they're not ready to have the conversation out loud. And that is critical to the mindset of putting content out into the world.
Okay, Kirby. So another key question that showed up in my mind, because like I have other coaches too, other experts who teach things like you gotta look at your numbers, you gotta kind of backtrack to see what content is good, to see what's working, to see what isn't working. So how, in that case, like how would we know what kind of content we're putting out it's actually touching people if they are not engaging?
Yeah, good question. Right. So let's just suppose we forget engagement for the moment. And we stop thinking with this, because this is the ego. This is like, am I popular? Is this working? Yeah. If we start to come in here and we say, right, is this going to leave someone better than I find them? If someone watches this video for 2 minutes, are they going to feel better about their life? Are they going to feel better about their business? Are they going to feel like they are capable as a human again? Yeah. If the answer is yes, it's good content. Keep putting it out.
Got it.
Don't worry about the rest.
Okay.
It will always take care of you. If you know that your content's coming from the right place, if it's coming from a place of service, if it's coming from a place of making a difference, coming from a place of making sure that it's moving people progressively forward in the way that they think or the way that they act, then it's good content, regardless of what the engagement's ever going to tell you.
This is so good. Oh my gosh.
And if people just aren't watching it at all, well then that's not the content. That's the hook that's getting them to watch the content. That's got nothing to do with the quality of the video. And it's got everything to do with the first question I asked, which is what have they seen, heard, or tried? You've got to differentiate between what they've already seen when it comes to the video that you're asking them to watch. And if they've already seen 10 videos just like that, then how are you going to make yours different? Not the video, but the hook. How are you going to get them to come and say, you know what, I'm going to watch this because this might be the one that I need. This might be different to the other 9 that I've seen already. That's the important part.
Got it. Yeah, that makes so much sense because that hook alone, like really, even that 3 seconds span, like if they don't think it's interesting, they would just scroll right past through that and they don't even actually get the chance to hear the good piece inside of your 20 minutes video. Okay. Purvi, I wish I can keep talking to you all day and have you just share all these powerful insights with the audience, but I want to respect your time and I also want to respect our audience time today, and you share a ton. Obviously, like, you know, everything that you share today is not going to just magically happen. We got to implement exactly what you mentioned. So if our audience want to dive deep and to take advantage of the course that you have offering, how can they access it? How can they find you online?
All right. You just have to go to theexpertblueprint.com. When you go there, click on get the course and you can access the course. It'll ask you to create a membership. It's completely free of charge. You don't have to pay anything for it. And go and create your login. You get inside the course. All of the content is waiting there for you. It's all unlocked. There's no kind of sales pitch in there. There's a Facebook group attached to that course as well. So you can jump in and ask me questions. I'm live in that group nearly every day. And I answer any questions that get posted there, regardless of whether someone's a client or not. So I'd say, yeah, go to theexpertblueprint.com, grab the free training. Don't discount the fact that it's free as being not valuable. It is amazing. Everyone who's been in that course is like, holy crap, why didn't I log into this thing earlier? So get inside the course, watch the videos that are relevant to you right now. Start at the beginning where it's talking about, you know, really understanding your market. Even though you might have heard it before, you know, the ideal avatar and all of that stuff. Like, take the time to think about it properly and follow the steps and you'll have great results. I can pretty much guarantee that if you follow the expert blueprint, you'll get clients. Everyone who does it gets results. So I'd highly encourage everyone to go and grab it.
Oh, that's so powerful. Okay, everyone, I will also make sure to have that link inside the same email this interview went out to you. So go back, get your hands on that right now. And Kirby, I know you're on Facebook too. Did you want to share that? Like, anything else?
You can go to, if you just go to facebook.com/theAnthonyKirby, same on Instagram as well. And I think it's also the same on LinkedIn. So I've kept it pretty simple for everyone who's across the platforms. Or you can go to anthonykirby.com and you know what? I'm just a guy with a family and I'd love to say hello to you. So if you've enjoyed this show, if you enjoyed the episode and what we're putting together here, like, say hello. I'm not some stranger. I respond to all of my emails personally. I don't have a team. I don't have a robot replying automatically. Like, I am legitimately the man in the seat. And I think that surprises people sometimes, you know, like they get a reply from me and they're like, what? Is this really you? And I'm like, yeah, it's really me. Like, it is actually me responding to the email. I know it's this fancy thing called human touch that we seem to have forgotten recently, but you know, get back to the basics.
Wow.
You know, that people like to deal with people that they like. So
this was so amazing, Kirby. And also, guys, like, Kirby is also inside the private Facebook group. You guys are all in, so you can connect with him there. Say hi, ask a question.
Send me a funny gift, preferably around Ron Burgundy or Anchorman. I'm a big Anchorman fan. I love really bad comedy. So you know, if you want to send me a funny gift on the group and say hello, I'd love to connect with you.
Yeah, okay. I hope you guys took notes on that and go say hi to Kirby on Facebook. And everyone else, I'll see you tomorrow for day 20. And again, Kirby, I just want to say a big thank you for your time today. And I'm just so appreciative of your generosity with sharing all of that amazing tips with us. And I hope our audience are going to implement. It's all about implementation.
Absolutely.
So, yes. Do you have any last words you want to finish off before we end this?
the easiest thing ever, which is the only value that I live by in my business, which is always make sure you leave everyone better than you find them with your content, with everything you do in life, every interaction you have, whether it's a podcast or whether it's, just walking past someone in the street, do your best to make sure that you leave that person better than you found them. It's a great mantra for life, and it's a great mantra for how we should be going forward as difference makers in our business as well.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.